Imagine feeling completely safe in your neighborhood, only to have that shattered in a single night. This is the story of Hyde Park. She loved everything about Hyde Park, from the bustling parks to the quiet streets. It was her sanctuary. A young nurse, full of life, moved to Hyde Park in 1980, making it her home. She worked at a nearby hospital, often commuting by bicycle, her radiant presence a staple in the community. But on the night of January 17, 1986, her life changed forever. Returning from a dinner date, she was attacked in her own apartment by a stranger with a gun. She survived the night, but the trauma lingered, pushing her to reclaim her life. Despite friends urging her to move, she was determined to stay and not let fear control her. But the cocoon of safety was shattered, and a year later, she left Hyde Park to start anew. Unbeknownst to her, the Hyde Park rapist had been lurking, a shadow in the community. The police had numerous leads but were no closer to catching him. The rapist's elusive nature and the neighborhood's patchwork charm made the case frustratingly complex. Residents, while kind, often chose to ignore the threat, seeing it as a defect in their beloved community. Barbara Gibson, a crime reporter, highlighted the attacks, but misinformation and myths persisted. The rapist's sporadic attacks allowed the neighborhood to live in denial, hoping he was just a fluke. But the grim reality was that he was neither the first nor the last serial rapist in Hyde Park. The police, overwhelmed with wild leads, stopped talking, and the neighborhood stopped asking. Victims, fearing for their lives, chose to remain anonymous, dealing with their trauma in silence. The rapist's attacks were meticulously planned, targeting single women in vulnerable homes. Despite the police's efforts, the rapist remained a ghost, blending into the community. In 1988, a young woman discovered the police's knowledge of multiple assaults, sparking her fury. Sergeant Paul Johnson, new to the Sex Crimes Division, inherited the daunting investigation. The rapist's pattern was clear, but his identity remained a mystery, hidden in plain sight. Residents' calls and letters demanded action, but the police had little to offer. Neighborhood meetings debated safety, but the desire for normalcy often overshadowed the threat. A young woman suggested a "Take Back the Night" march, but fear and denial prevailed. In 1989, the rapist's attacks seemed to stop, giving the neighborhood a false sense of security. But he was still there, a silent predator, waiting for his next opportunity. Victims moved away, their departures as quiet as the attacks, leaving behind a community in denial. The law student who was attacked in 1987 now works to keep menaces behind bars, refusing to let fear control her. Hyde Park's residents, filled with optimism, continue to hope for a safer future. As the sun sets on Hyde Park, the community remains vigilant, knowing that the shadow of the rapist still lingers. Stay safe, stay strong, Hyde Park.